Hello and welcome to the latest Craftmania Sunday Showcase. Today I'd like to share with you some of our fantastic card making collection packs. These packs not only are full of cards and envelopes, they're also full of die cut decoupage and inserts and different bits to make some fantastic cards. They're great for beginners and they're really good as well if you're an advanced card maker, because it's down to you just how much jazzing up you want to do with them. I've made a few examples today, just trying to use mostly what comes in your kit, just to give you an idea of some of the very easy but effective cards you can create. Now I'm going to show you first of all what you're going to receive in a standard set, and then later on I'll show you a few other sets of different images. We do these kits with animals such as birds and polar bears, flowers, garden designs, etc. But we'll have a little look through them later, and at the moment we'll start off with this one. So this is the Wren collection. In here you get 4 cards and envelopes of a 6x6 square. You also get 4 8x8 cards and envelopes. So you're getting 8 cards to begin with for your 8 projects. You're also getting 3 sheets of die cut elements. Now these, as I say, are die cut, so you can just pop them out and use them straight away. This is our first one where we're just focusing pretty much on one design. A couple of them are zoomed in and zoomed out just to give you a glimpse of the design. Then you've got a nice sheet like this, again all die cut for you, ready to use, but they've gone a little bit brighter with this set. Moving on to our third sheet. On this one you're getting a few more text pieces as well, which are really lovely because they're obviously designed to coordinate, so you don't have to think too much about this set, it's just ready to go. And again, all of these pieces are die cut too. Moving on, you've also got one of these sheets. Now this sheet reminds me a lot of the decoupage sheets of many years ago, where you could take the image, you'd go several times and you could pick the bits you wanted to cut out and layer. We still stock them now, but they're not quite as popular since die cut took over, but you certainly could do the same with this. If you didn't want to, then you could of course use the images as backgrounds or possibly even jazz up an insert with them. Talking of inserts, you also receive 2 A4 inserts. We've got our Sending Love insert and you've got our Best Wishes one. On top of that, you also get 3 sheets of backing paper. Now this is quite heavyweight paper. It's not too flimsy, so it's good body for decorating your cards with. This is our lovely ornate orange design. You also get a nice rustic red one. And on top of that, you also get a nice yellow one too, which again all complement the colours that you see within the designs. So that's the kit. Now let me show you a little bit of what I've done with mine. So over here is all 8 of our projects, but I'll bring them over one at a time, we'll have a little look at them. So this is our first one. This one is made with the insert that I just showed you. So although the insert is A4, I've simply just cut a little bit off of it and just stamped a couple of pieces on this just to jazz it up a little. And the actual flowers here are made with the paper that I've cut off the side. Now if you haven't seen this before, it's just a die I've used. It's this little set of 3 dies. It's only $4.99 for all 3, and you can be making nice little flower sets like that in no time at all. Moving on to our next card, I'll show you this one. This is a lovely design. This is sort of inspired by one of the sheets that was in there, showing the panels all set out on the red card on one of the die cut elements. So I basically used all of the offcuts I'd got from all the pieces I'd been using to create this effect. Now at this stage I will point out, in all fairness, I have added 5 sheets of A4 card throughout the 8 projects just to mat and layer my elements on. Now it's only our cheap card, so it's just under £1 you'd need to spend to get them 5 sheets. But of course you've probably got offcuts at home already. But in the interest of full disclosure, we will point out that we've used them too. So moving on to our next card. This is the panel, funny enough, I was talking about, where I said how it had shown you the different patterns and colours layered, which I was imitating with my card. Now these sets are great if you want to be a little bit frugal as well, because of like this design for instance, where we've got that A4 sheet of our yellow pattern, it seems silly to cut out an 8x8 and cover up the majority of it when you could just hack out the middle. They call it gutting, is the actual technical term for it. You just gut your paper, so you've then got it to use for another project. It's a really good way to save a few pennies, especially with kits like this or expensive 12x12s when you're paying a couple of pounds a sheet, it's good to get as much value as you can out of it. So my sort of 6.5 inch square I cut out the middle of that, I then used to create the flowers on this card. So these flowers are die cut with that same die I showed you a moment ago in our nifty little die cutter, and just made for this card. Now the card itself is one of the 6x6 card blanks, but instead of just keeping it as an ordinary flat card, all I did was just folded back the front panel to give you a little glimpse at the insert and to decorate it from there. Speaking of inserts, this is actually part of one of our insert sheets. Not the one I show you on the first card, but this is our other more plain insert sheet. I'll show you the rest of it in a moment, but that's a couple of the offcuts from that. Moving on to our next card. This is the one that's got the rest of that insert in. So here is just a 6x6 one again with a sending love bit and the pattern across the top. Now the card itself again started off as a 6x6 card, and all I've done is just folded back the front to stick my elements on and just foam padded that down so it stays in place. Moving on to my next one. There's so many to go through today. We'll have a little look at this one, shall we? This again is a 6x6 card. It's just started off as an ordinary blank card, but I've scored mine at 1/2 inch and 2 inches to give us that little detail of a fold back there. Again, giving you a little glimpse of the insert, so you can add a little bit more on the side of the card to match the outside. Now I will just point out at this stage as well, I have added these pearls. They don't come in with the kits, but again I had them laying around in my stash, so I've added quite a few pearls to the cards I'm showing you today. But they're ever so cheap, they're only £1.29 a packet, so even if you haven't got them in your stash already, they're quite inexpensive to add. This is another one of our cards, again started off as a 6x6 square, but instead of leaving it like that, I actually covered up the original score line that ran through the middle here with just a piece of card, which would then be on my inside for my insert. And the two panels, instead I folded them in half twice to create this effect. And I've also corner rounded it. Now if you don't know what that means, we'll be showing you those in just a few minutes. But just to give you a glimpse into what we've done, that is one of the cards we've done it on. Now another thing with that card is I actually made it a little bit too big for the box, for the envelope, sorry. Where I've put this little tab on here, when you fold it back, it is actually too large for the envelopes that come with it. So for my last project, my 8th project from inside the kit, I thought instead of making another card, I'd show you that you could make a coordinating box. So this is actually made out of the 8x8 card blank that I had left in my set. And all I did ever so simply was just score it at 1.5 centimetres down the side, and across the crease line I just scored out from there to match the 1.5 centimetres, and then cut and made it into a box. It does up at the top here. I've just folded in the two pieces and added a little bit of decoration with a border punch that I'll talk you through in a moment. Punched a couple of holes in it for my ribbon, and there's our detailed box. And of course that then fits with inside that as well. Now these are the images that I said earlier that you could decoupage on top of if you wanted to. I didn't on either side of my box, but you certainly could. So that's sort of the 8 projects I made. But one of the things that we were just talking about was our corner rounders, from this card especially. And as well as that, one of our earlier cards I showed you, never pointed it out at the time, but I've also actually done a bit of a corner rounder job on the elements that you're going to push out of your die cut sheets too. Now if you haven't come across corner rounders before, we do lots of different designs, some really ornate ones as well. But today I thought I would show you our 4 basic designs. So we're going to start off with this one. This is just an everyday rounder. So all we do is just load the card into it, it holds it in place for you as such, and you can just round that off. And that one literally just rounds the corners. Moving on to a little bit more of a fancy one. I always think this one's quite good for more masculine cards because it gives you detail but it isn't too heavy and it isn't too flourishy. This is our little blocks punch. So that punches these tiny little nicks in each side of the corners. Good again if you want to wrap, sort of twine round them. If you're doing a bit of a gardening theme maybe. Quite a nice little one, that one. And then by far our most popular one is this one. We refer to this in our lessons as the lip punch. It just puts this nice little indent on each corner, like a little M as such. Some call it a little moustache, but a nice little detail there. And then lastly, the one that I'd actually used on the projects I show you This is our inverted corner. So again, we're just going to pop it in here and trim all 4 corners. Well, this always reminds me of like a pub sign, which is again is good for like scrapbook titles or your sentiments on your cards as well. But it just takes off the corners. And of course, you could also matte and layer these using different colour cards to create different effects with matting the different corners up. So great way to get a nice professional finish on a card instead of just keeping to square edges. Now, talking of professional finishes, like I show you on our box, this lovely punched bit across the top here. Thought I'd introduce you to our punch that did that for us. That's this one here. Now, we've been stocking border punches for 12 years since we very first opened, and out of all of the ones we've ever used, no matter what the price point, this is by far the easiest one I've ever got. We've had them go all the way up to £40 before, promising to be the best and the easiest to use. But this one at only £7.99 is definitely the easiest I've come across. So all we do is just punch it, slide it along a little, and when you see only the silver bit through the holes, we just punch it again. We've been using this design in our lessons recently, and even people who have got arthritis and dexterity problems have really found this an easy design to use because it just doesn't take a lot to push down on it to get it to work. So that's our nice filigree edge there, and as I say, that one is only £7.99. So moving on, that was our bird collection and a few of the bits I did with that set. As I mentioned earlier, we do also do these sets in different designs, and I thought I would show you another display board I've done recently of our dog design. So this is our Jack Russell set, same principle again, lots of different components, lots of different card blanks, and you can dress them up with folds or circles or different elements to just give them a bit more interest. So let's talk you through the sets themselves. All of the sets I'm going to show you are only £5.99. There are lots I'm going to tempt you with, so you might want to grab a pen and paper at this stage and write down the names I read out, and if you would like them, then you can let me know in the comments and we'll have them held for you. There is of course a special offer because this is a Sunday showcase, so all of the kits, although they're only £5.99, on top of that, if you buy any 2 kits, you get them for only £10. Now that offer is valid until next Saturday, which is the 25th of June. It's valid until 5 p.m. So that's 5 p.m. the 25th of June 2016. But a good little way to get your hands on these kits at an even better price. So let's talk you through the kits themselves. So this one is very similar to the one we started with, the Wren one. This is the Swallow, same setup again, same inserts, decoupage, etc. We then have the Wren one, which is the one, as I said, was when we used. We then have the Blue Tip design, and I think these are really good, especially for men's cards. People are always saying to us they struggle to do men's cards. Well, these are lovely and rustic designs, great colour schemes to use for men. Then we have the Missile Thrush. Then moving on, we have our owls. These are some of the most popular kits in these collections. This is the Remembrance set. Then we have Daybreak. Then after that we have Lead the Way. Again, lovely colours. Then we'll move on to some flowers. Now these flower sets I'm going to show you, these have actually been designed in conjunction with the Natural History Museum. So you'll know you're really getting a good product when the Natural History Museum are involved. This one is Acclimatus. Then we have our Primrose design. Then we have our Hortensia. Moving forward, keep hold of that one, we have our Forget Me Not. And these again are lovely designs, they've got so much in them. These I like as well, these are more oriental I feel in their sort of colour scheme and their design. This one is called Tranquil Waters. Again, you're getting all of the same elements, so don't fear you haven't lost anything for these. In this one you're even getting a whole sheet of them sentiments too, so good value. Then moving on, we have our Flying High collection. Again, a whole sheet of sentiments in that one. We would recommend highly that you do read the contents of these kits when you purchase them, because they do vary a little. Some have got 6 cards in, some have got 4, some have got 8. So do have a little look and see that you're getting the one you want. Moving on, we'll go on to a little bit more of a Christmassy theme. We now have our Bear Hugs design. Gorgeous, that one, isn't it? And you're getting 2 pictures in this one as well, so it's not just the same image repeated. When you actually look at the sheets, you're getting a couple of different images, on the same theme. So that's quite a nice way to get a little bit more for your money too. We then have Say Hello. Again, split to 2 different animals. And then this one is my favourite Christmas one. This one's Double Trouble. But I think that's such a lovely traditional Christmas. I think it's the tartan that does it. But it's got that proper Christmas feel to it. We then have Dawn Patrol. And you'll get a little glimpse at some of the dogs we'll be showing you in the everyday range later. This is Christmas Kisses. And then we have Is It Time Yet? Another perfect Christmas one. Now moving on from our little Christmas escapades, we'll look at a few more of the wild animals that come in these sets. Now this one is Teamwork, a lovely elephant set. Then we have our Moonlight. Then we have, this one's a bit more intimidating, isn't it? We have Look Into My Eyes, a little bit darker that one. Again, good for me. This one I have so many people I could send this to. Cheeky little fella. This one is Daydreaming. Then we have Perfect. Then from there we go on to A Mother's Love. And then Do Not Disturb. I quite agree, I don't think I'd want to disturb him. He don't look like he's going to be too happy if somebody wakes him up. And then our last one in the wild bit, this is A Walk in the Wild. And then moving on, we will go to some lovely designs. These ones are a little bit more arty. They look as if somebody's actually painted these ones. Gorgeous designs. So this one is Wild Roses. Very vibrant colours on these two. This is Poppy Fields. Then we have Foxgloves. Then we have Daisy Days. Autumn Hedgerows. Blissful Butterflies. And Sunflower Cottage. And again, just a reminder, you're getting all the same decoupage sheets and the inserts and the card blanks. There really is quite a lot in them. Moving on next, we're going to discuss the dogs. These are the original kits they brought out. This is the Jack Russell one that you can see we did on the board earlier. So just a little glimpse of what you could be making with that one. From there we go on to Yorkshire Terriers. After that we have the cutest little Chihuahua. I'm not even a dog lover, but even I like that one. I think that's gorgeous. Then you've got Schnauzers, Cocker Spaniels, English Bulldogs, Border Terriers, King Charles Cavaliers, Springer Spaniels, Beagles, English Bulldogs, and last but by no means least, Golden Retrievers. Now again, just a reminder, this is just some of the kits we have in stock. There are more in store, both in Yarmouth and in Lowestoft. So if you are passing, do pop in and have a little look. There's a few more that will surprise you in store too. Just a reminder, they are £5.99, but you can have any two for £10 for this week only. Once again, post in the comments which ones you would like to have held, and we will hold them for you for up to 7 days. If you'd like to have them posted to you, please write post in your comment and the designs you would like, and we will contact you regarding that. You can now also pay via PayPal as well, so if that makes it a little bit easier for you, we're glad to help. Thank you very much for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you all again next Sunday when we tackle another project and show you a few ways to use a different product. Thanks for watching, bye for now.